A word? You want a playoff 5-piece? Who would I be not to oblige? You don't have to threaten me with a good time. Batting leadoff. Take 5. With all the regular cast of characters available, we do assume that Mike Williams will be amongst them. You got your Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Gerald Everett, Donald Parham. Does DP count as a regular? You get where I'm going with this. The name that should stick out to everyone for a very specific reason is Joshua Palmer. Because when everyone's available, he adds a little something extra to the offense that opens up Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, amongst other guys. The reason being is because you can do a lot with JP, whether it be on the outside, inside on the slot. You can mix and match your receivers. You can draw some coverages some specific ways based on your route combinations. He's a player that I don't think is lauded enough because he automatically is like option number 4 when you look at everyone else on the field at the same time. But he is a very key piece to keeping things moving smoothly in the passing game. So I think we need to give him some props and also pay attention to the fact that he could loom very large over this game. We don't really 100% know to this point what version of Mike Williams we're going to get. But if he's limited in any way, shape, or form, I look for Palmer to have a bigger game. And hell, if Mike gets out there and is issue free, still look for Palmer to make some big plays. Now, ironically enough, number 2 is twofold. I'm going to call this one Space Invaders. Now, if you're a part of the Discord, many of you guys are, you're aware of the conversation already. I've chimed in with my opinions on it. Jamie and Garrett have discussed it on their pod, but at this point, it's pretty much a unanimous thing amongst the majority of us. And what we feel like the Chargers need to do defensively against this Jaguars passing game. And what we want to see is more press man coverage. The off man stuff, soft zones, want to mix it in, fine. But we're talking about maybe near levels of what we saw against the Miami Dolphins. And one of the reasons for that is that the Jaguars passing game is predicated on a lot of quick game, RPO stuff. And what you want to do is be able to throw off the timing of the receivers. Trevor Lawrence has played pretty well on the back half of the year, but still growing. And you can get the kid to force some stuff and throw you a couple. Chargers are going to have to do that, I feel like, to gain some momentum in this game. And the guy that my eyes, I have 2 of them, are squarely on, Mike Davis. And this is another back half of the year. I mean, it's been more than a solid performer. He's been borderline shutdown at the cornerback position. But what he is really good at that he hasn't been utilizing or put in a position to utilize for far too long is his ability as a press man corner. He's got the length, the speed, and he's got a really, really nice stab off of the line of scrimmage. It's practically textbook. It's kind of a thing of beauty. You want to make him force Christian Kirk to work to get off of the line of scrimmage as much as you can. Now, other guys like Azant, you're not really going to be able to get that off with. You're going to have to mix and match some stuff, but still, it's going to be about throwing off timing. Now, secondarily, but by no means any less important, Chargers are going to have to rally to ball carriers. And I'm not just talking about attempting to stop ETN from reeling off 15 to 20 yards a pop every 3rd or 4th time he touches the ball. No, I mean him out of the backfield as a receiver, him lining up as a wide receiver, whether we're talking Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. A lot of the guys on the Jaguars offense are very good at creating after they get the ball in their hands in the open field. And the Chargers are not the best at taking good angles to ball carriers. I will not name any names, Nasir Adderley. But y'all know what I'm getting at. it's inevitable. Guys are going to end up in some mismatched situations, like Kenneth Murray could end up on ETN or a slot receiver. But again, whomever the receiver is, whoever gets their hands on the ball, the Chargers are going to have to rally to the ball carrier. That's what I want to see more of. And that'll help to alleviate some of these big play situations that could potentially happen. And if one guy misses, you got another one or two around in the area, your odds are much higher at stopping a big play from popping off. So, yeah. Let's make it happen. Gliding right on into number 3, 4 Horsemen. So the Jaguars are pretty efficient on early downs, but if the Chargers can find a way on a handful of drives to force them into third and medium, third and long scenarios, man, they can unleash the hounds and find themselves in situations where they can potentially cause some turnovers or at least kill some drives. It's all there now. Joey Bosa, Morgan Fox, Khalil Mack, Kyle Van Noy. However you want to line them up. You can get some Joey on the inside over a guard with Khalil on the same side. Kyle Van Noy, Fox on the inside also primarily. However you want to mix and match it. Havoc can ensue, but you have to find a way to get the Jags to play behind on down and distance. Otherwise, it's really, really, really going to limit what you can do from a pass rushing standpoint. And again, they don't hold on to the ball very long. Lawrence doesn't. So you're going to have to force them into situations where he's going to have to take more than a 3-step drop and release the ball. If you can get him into some 5 to 7s on some third and medium pluses, then you're cooking. So once again, do your job, hold it down on early downs, and then you can cook a little bit. Oh, my bad. Number 4, fresh herbs. The offensive line is going to have to show up this week. I know what you're saying. Hey, Craig, duh. That's an every week thing. But look, in particular, against the Jags, we're talking about some young athletic pass rushers. And let's kind of go through what we're looking at on the Chargers offensive line as it's currently constructed. Trey Pipkins, who has performed more than admirably on somewhat of a bum knee throughout the year. Right tackle. We know what's in the middle. Corey Linsley. You got Zion. You got your Filer, who's played a little bit better as of late. And on the left side, Jamari Sawyer, who has been a godsend for the year. Now, he's had his struggles also because, we're talking about a late round pick who was drafted to play guard, but luckily in college played all down the line of scrimmage, literally every offensive line position. So he's been able to hold it down. But he is not the fleetest of foot. No one would mistake him for being an elite athlete in that regard. Honestly, this would have been a phenomenal game for the babyface, but I can't even call him that anymore. The dude went and grew a goatee. What is with y'all? You change your numbers. Now you want to grow facial hair with other folks, and I keep having to come up with new nicknames. First it was Derwin, now it's Slater, whatever. Let me get back on track. It would have been awesome to have him because he would be able to man that left side down. You really wouldn't have to worry about it a lot. Could probably be a little bit looser in the passing game, but what I'm really concerned with is Lombardi, because it's his thing, getting behind on down the distance, and Herbert not being able to get the ball out quickly and having to take those 5 and 7 step drops. And then you're looking at those pass rushers screaming off the edge and coming for his head. And we don't want that. I honestly don't want him, and I've said it multiple times, dropping back 40 plus times a game. This game's no different. I would really like the running game to get going. Let's have some balance. That ultimately would help to alleviate many of these issues, but can't count on that happening. So really what it boils down to is the game planning. And if we can stay in front of the sticks, then we may not have much to worry about. And if the running game is effective in any way, shape, or form, then all of this is moot. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. We've seen a season of this stuff. If the last few games are any indication, it'll be better. So let me not continue to go down this road, because I'll start with older memories and then I'll get off in the wrong direction. So no. O-line, show up. Joe Lombardi, have a better than average offensive game plan. We've seen it a couple times. Just do your thing. That's all I'm asking for. Yeah, it's about time to freshen this thing up again. Number 5, the BSB files. Hey, Brandon, all eyes are going to be on you this Saturday, man. Kind of put a little bit of heat on yourself with those decisions last week to keep starters, key contributors in a meaningless game into the fourth quarter. So you got to come ready with like all your best stuff, because Dougie P is like that as a coach. You already know that. Week 3, you got to see it firsthand, and we get it. We know who was missing was a veritable who's who of Chargers players on the injury report. Totally understand. But still, Dougie took you to school. And now we want to see how much you've learned. This is going to be a redemption game. And also, the last thing I want to see is the Chargers succumb not because of poor play on the field, but poor coaching decisions. Because you're not going to be able to live that one down. All the Wolves from last week going to come right back out. You do your thing, and the Chargers walk out of there with a dub, and no one cares. But you don't, and you can be certain this one's going on a permanent record. It's going to be a rough off season for you, my guy, and I don't want to see that for you. Anywho, I personally feel like he's going to step up to the plate. Do I have a reason to believe that? No, just rolling with some blind faith here. I know the players are going to play for him. They believe in him. So maybe that'll be enough to push this thing over the hump one way or the other. But anyway, here we are, people. Rejoice. You got meaningful football in January. Who would have thunk it? At times this year, not me. But once again, it's been me. I appreciate you for sticking around, listening to me run my mouth. And until the next one, hopefully with the Chargers having, walked away with the dub and moving along to play the hated Kansas City Chiefs in a game that very well could feature Mr. Rashawn Slater. But either way, regardless, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But one way or another, I'll be back. Another 5-piece for your head top. So until then, y'all take it easy. Gone.